SDW racing team. Henai Train there on the front again. Tom Gake still sticking out in the front. It's good to see. We've got a few other guys in the drift team colours. Mike's in at 15th position there on the road. Tightly packed on these narrow streets. See Joris Sheppers. Joris Sheppers is in the running on Cap Formentor. We see Roboton here putting in some power. Breaking towards the front of it. Feldball is off the front now. We missed that move. Feldball has gone off the front. Rasmus Feldball there, he was one of the riders that broke off the front with Casper Hiederdam on the Cap Formentor stage. Rasmus Feldball almost going to the end with Casper Hiederdam, but I believe he had some kind of a technical. I'm not sure if it was a real life technical issue or whether it was a virtual technical issue. Knocked his power out for a few seconds and allowed Casper Hiederdam to open up a 300-metre gap on him, which turned out to be an insurmountable gap. And Casper Hiederdam taking the win then under those circumstances from Rasmus Feldball. As we see Joris Sheppers here on the front, Mike Lister. Joris Sheppers should know this course well. We're into the earlier stages of the Oude Kwaremont now. Just entering onto the cobbles there for Rasmus Feldball. Mike Lister on the front of the chasing group there. And none of these riders, having seen the performance that Feldball put in yesterday, will want to let him get too far up the road. Daniel Kadir is leading the chasing group there. He's breaking free a little bit there. Now, this could be an interesting point if Daniel Kadir manages to bridge up to Rasmus Feldball. We saw how well Feldball worked with Casper Hiederdam yesterday to keep the entire pack away. So if Daniel Kadir can get over to him and they can work together, then it might be a rerun of yesterday's stage, but with different riders. They are they're meeting each other there. We're at gradients of 9.6% here, so not a terrible amount of drafting there. We are just coming up to a little bit of an easier section. And you've got a grouping of three at the front now with a small gap. Hiederdam back up there at the front with his country mate. And now we've got Lopez taking the lead here. Just running into a slightly flatter section. Jose Lopez pushing out nearly 400 watts there. Just crests into the flatter section. There's a little bit of a point where you've got to be wary of your gears. You can be going from that 8% gradient, and if you don't get your gear changes right, as I think Lopez may have failed to do there, and you just ease off a little bit too much on the flat, you get the riders flying past you. Daniel Kadir comes in to take the front. Still got Mike Lister in that group, but Tom Gates, our other rider, has a drop back. We're going under the halfway marker. That's halfway of this first lap. We've a group there of 9 riders. Got a rider just sitting off the back there, trying to catch back on. As Feldball pushes again at the front, and it's once again opened up a gap. Lopez, the next behind the wheel. Bridged back up again to Feldball there. We see that the group has learnt from yesterday. They're not going to give Feldball too much of a runaway there. We've seen these barriers by the side of the road, and we see some of the buildings. It really gives you an idea of the gradients that these riders are pushing against. Coming up towards the end of this cobbled section, as Hiederdam runs through and onto the front now. Hiederdam putting in an effort. He knows what terrain's ahead of him. And he's looking to break the draft from the riders following now. It drops off the cobbles. We can turn this right-hand corner into an excruciating 12% gradient. See the riders nearly coming to a standstill there. James Melville running up to the front there. This could be very dangerous if Melville and Heidedam make a break together. Melville's a very strong rider, very strong all-rounder. Heidedam using the look behind feature there as we pass the monument to the winners. And we're grouped back up again now. Felbal, Heidedam and James Melville all together there at the front. We have got a little bit of separation now back to the group there that's containing Mike Lister. And it's Nick Hall wearing the Friday Crit colours there that's come to the front and is pushing on. We've got a little bit of a group there with Heidedam, Felbal and Nick Hall. Melville's dropped back by 14 metres. With Rhubarb, McAlpine, Lopez and Lister just a little bit further behind than that. Heidedam and Felbal, they've broke off the front again now. Working together once again. See, Heidedam and Felbal, they just crested. They're going to have a nice long descent now before they get down to the base of the Paterberg. I know that Heidedam is one of the heavier riders, and I think he'll be enjoying this descent now with gravity helping him just to keep moving. As we're a group of 4 at the front and a gap of 40 metres back to McAlpine, the next rider on the road. So that's Nick Hall, Felbal, Heidedam and James Melville at the front of the race. McAlpine just a little bit in no man's land there with I think it's Angus Smith chasing on. Daniel Kadir's group. You see Mike Lister there, still in contention. Oh. So we have got a separation here, the front group with Felbal and Heidedam, who lit up the first race of the series. They put in impressive performances at Cap Foreman Tour. Nick Hall, who's a very capable rider, back onto the platform after a little break. And we've got James Melville with him as well, a frequent rider Melville, who's good on all sorts of terrain. He's got a fantastic engine on him. And just going to the figures there for Nick Hall, we can see he's pushing 400 watts there. Eased off the power to try and enjoy the draft from Heidedam and Felbal there. Just trying to feather it and get in that drafting sweet spot. Heart rate Nick Hall there at 156, which is not that high for putting in such a great amount of effort. Obviously heart rate is very particular for each individual rider. You can see the gap in here back to the chase group. Got, I think it's Angus Smith in 5th place there. Daniel Cadiz, McAlpine, Mike Lister, and with him I think it's Roubaix. The gap not looking insurmountable there between the chase group and the leaders. As the leaders come round and they go underneath the Lantern Rouge. We're approaching the base of the Paterberg climb. And keep your eyes open for this hard right-hander now. If we've still got the watts on show, you'll see them go bright red as the auto braking gets applied and the riders are coming to a near standstill at the base of the Paterberg. Just like in real racing, the classics racing famous for these tight corners just before difficult climbs. You see the riders who are forcing the way to the front of the packs constantly in order to make it to these corners first. Felbal letting on to us there, or perhaps just giving a signal to his teammate. And we turn right there, up onto the Paterberg. Starts off around about 10%. Very quickly, it's like like a wall, it just curves up, reaching gradients of 20%. It's very much a climb that you just have to grit your teeth and power through. See James Melville there pulling away at the front with Heidedam tightly on his wheel. No drafting to be had. The gradients are that steep, the speeds are that slow on the Paterberg. but you do need to stay with your man. You need to stay with the rider for as soon as this levels out, the drafting advantages come back into play, and if you've managed to gap any of the other riders, you can work together to quickly open up a gap. See Heidedam there, his power bar's going bright red as he puts every effort in there, just coming to the top of the Paterberg, and you can start to feel the gradients easing. Hit the top, and there's a left-hander, and we're straight through the start-finish banner to begin the loop again. Heidedam was looking every bit rested and recovered from his efforts yesterday. Melville coming through, Feldbal behind them in 4th position, and McAlpine's managed to cover up some distance there and get himself near to Feldbal's wheel. He's coming through in 8th position. We've got Rubar, we've got Rowbottom, and another of the Rasio Racing. It's Joey Shepherd's there, Angus Smith. Mike Lister's just crested there, and he's starting to put the power down to try and recover these wheels and get some drafting. Heidedam, time trial mode. He's got his head down, heading for the Oude Kwaremont. Casper Heidedam eased off on the power now. Do wonder whether he's waiting for Feldbal a little bit here. See Feldbal and Melville chasing on. Heidedam's just up the power, up at 300 watts now. Feldbal's not pushing there. With James Melville being such a dangerous rider to work with, I wonder whether Feldbal's just trying to ease off now. Let Melville do the chasing if he's going to do it, and Feldbal will sit in his wheel, make the most of it. Heidedam pushing on again there at the front, putting the effort in. Coming back around now, we're not too far away from the base of the Oude Kwaremont. Daniel Cadiz back up with this little group of chasers. We've got Nick Hall again sitting in. Now these riders chasing on now, they need to be careful. His Heidedam is capable of taking this effort all the way to the finish line. So if one of them doesn't put the effort in to recover him, he's going to be away and gone free. Joy Shepherd's now back in this group. We've got my list there, distanced by around about 80 metres behind the group that we were just watching there, the Shepherd's group. As Heidedam's pushing on at the front, opening up a gap here of around about 60 metres. There's only 7 kilometres left to go to the finish. Winding round through this peaceful, quaint village, disturbed every year with the Ronde Tour of Flanders. Very well supported. Gets a lot of public support. And as we come into the Oude Kwaremont, and keep your eyes open, there's some buildings on the right hand side which give you a real idea of how steep these climbs are. And bear left. Not too far now till we leave the village. We see the Lopez group there, second place with Nick Hall, Feldbal, and I think James Melville's there. I think that's Roubaix who's just come through on the front there. But Heidedam still pushing on hard. He's in his red power level there, which means that he's putting in one of his maximum efforts. There's only one power level above there. And it goes the bright red, which we'll probably see him unleashing as we get onto the Oude Kwaremont. Feldbal just taking it easy. As I say, he's allowing a gap opening there to his teammates, well, his countrymen, of it's 130 metres, and I think this is a good chance that Heidedam's got this race sewn up, unless Lopez, Melville, Nick Hall and Cadiz decide to work together and cover that distance and close him down. And back with the group a little bit further back on the road here. We've got McAlpine, Rubo, and Lister. And then just off the back of this group, we've got Mike Lister and Christophe Contant and Rowbottom. And about 16 metres further back in that group we were just watching. He then comes through on the Oude Kwaremont, past one of our camera bikes. Two of our camera bikes there, hanging out on the Oude Kwaremont, just taking it easy. And we've got Gavache, Dubray and Wood to Clace here. Wood to Clace would probably have been, in my opinion, I was expecting Wood to Clace to be a little bit further forward than this. Vespa back in 17th position. A little bit of no man's land with James Ogilvy and Henite Train a little bit further back in 18th and 19th position there. And further back we've got Lee Marshall and Bourgard. Lee Marshall did a good ride, and just behind them we've got Tom Gates and Suhard back in 23rd. Nugabo 24th position. And behind him again we got Joris van Beers, one of the Ratio Racing riders. Ebling in 26th, Fusel of SDW in 27th, Krajowski, another of the Ratio Racing riders, a little bit further back in 28th. Just with him we've got Alex Plaisir. I think that's Ryan Miller in 30th there. Oxuzoglu back in 31st position. Torelio in 32nd. Bridgman back in 33rd position. And we've got a little group in here of Colvid, Hugard and John By the Way. Back from 34th down to 36th position. John By the Way, one of the RGT team riders there. And I got Soderberg back in 37th. Mitchell in 38th. And Noble just behind him. And behind him, Oystenson and both riders there, Team 3R. In 41st position, we've got Wrights. 47th, Laser. And then we've got Equi. Nick Greenhouse back in 44th position. Nick Greenhouse been having some fantastic racing and some fantastic results. Ratio Racing as a whole team have been working really well together this season, showing some real team tactics on the races. And we're back 45th with EC, and then 47th we've got Zar. And a little bit further back we've got Van Brakel, Ryan Deadpool, the Friday Crits, and Otto Koala. As we're seeing there, Hederdam has just crested the Oude Kwaremont. 51st position we've got Schlabier. 52nd Schwank, Hegelm and Riepke back in 54th position there. Forgive me on my pronunciation of some of the names there. Got Hodgson and Clark in 55th, 56th position. Alsop back in 57th. Bodzio and Bohm 58th, 59th. Clark in 60th. And Steen back in 61st. Hederdam just coming up now on some of the easier sections of the climbing. He's finished the Oude Kwaremont proper, and he's coming up on the highest point in the course, and he's looking very much clear and winning this race at this current moment in time. We've got James Melville putting in some efforts here. He's broken away from the chasing group and putting an 18-metre gapping there. Feldbal has seen that he's gone and is pushing on hard to pick him back up again. Feldbal coming through there, and it's looking like Feldbal and Melville are going to form their own little group with a 40-metre gapping over Cadiz and Hall. And in fact, Hall's dropped back as well, so that little grouping has exploded there. I suspect that Melville's putting the effort to try and close the gap in back down on Heiderdam, or just to put himself into second place there. And Feldbal's caught him back up, and we'll just see now whether Feldbal decides to sit back up again and make Melville do the work, or whether Melville's going to be able to enjoy any drafting effort off the back of Feldbal. Back a little bit further down the road, we've got McAlpine, Smith, Rubo, Christoph Contant and Joris Scheppers. And we're back now. You can see that Feldbal's got on the front there. He's going to second position. He's just sat up. He's not putting any effort in. Melville having to push again. Feldbal immediately chasing him down. I think it's clear here that Heiderdam and Feldbal have had a chat before they've gone into this race, and decided that it's going to be one of the two of them that wins this. Melville still pushing on there. Feldbal just enjoying the draft. As soon as Melville pushes any effort in, Feldbal reacts. But it isn't doing any work himself. He's happy to let Heiderdam up the road. Melville again pushing there. Heiderdam consistently on the power. Had a chat with somebody who knows Heiderdam last night, and he said that he's been training really hard. He's in some of the form of his life, and I think that's really reflecting in his performances on the platform at the moment. Feldbal goes back over Melville and sits up, and Melville having to put in the efforts again there to just go past him. He's not quite able to drop Feldbal, not strong enough to leave Feldbal behind. I think he's got no choice now, Melville. If he wants to get that position, he's going to have to, if he's going to ride for first position, he's going to have to take Feldbal with him. If he's going to go for second, then it's just going to be a little bit of cat and mouse between these two riders. And it's possible that positions 4, 5 and 6 could pick them back up again if they work together. You quite often see this in a race where two of the riders start looking at each other, thinking it's going to be between them for second and third position, and all of a sudden there's a sneak attack from the riders behind. The pack with a higher power overhauls them. Heiderdam now into the descent. His avatar getting tucked in, making the most of the aero advantage. Coming up under the Flam Rouge. Not too many bends in this now until he gets back to the base of the Paterberg, and then it's just one all-out massive effort to get to the top. The gapping's not too far back to Melville and Feldbal, but I doubt that they're going to cover that distance when they're arguing between themselves about who's going to put the work in. Cadiz, he's not too far away. He's probably 120 metres further back than Melville. I don't think he's going to have the all-out power to catch up. He's taking it easy on the descent. As Heiderdam hits the right turn into the base of the Paterberg, and you see his power bar light up bright red. He knows that this is the end of the race for him. He's rode a very canny race, and once again he's just powered himself away off the front of the pack and rode solo to victory. See him putting out 520 watts there. Melville and Feldbal come into the base of the Paterberg, and you can just see Cadiz in the distance chasing on. Melville has managed to snap the elastic to Feldbal there and open up a gap on him. Looks like Melville, oh my days, Melville has caught back to Heiderdam. This is amazing. The battle is on now between these two riders to see who can conquer the gradients of the Paterberg. Heiderdam still in front at the moment. Melville close on his tail. There's only 5 metres in it. It looks like Heiderdam's just opened up the power again and is breaking free from Melville. Melville perhaps over-egged it there, breaking the elastic to Feldbal. Heiderdam, it looks like he's every bit the winner of this race now. 15 metres clear of Melville, but that was looking very tight for a moment there. Melville coming through over the top to take second place. Feldbal, he was playing cat and mouse with Melville for a moment there, and I think he didn't quite realise that Melville was going to make it stick that time around. He's got a 35 metre gap over Cadiz there, and he's coming comfortably into third place. Cadiz 55 metres over Nick Hall in the distance. Well rode by Cadiz there, but in the end he just couldn't close those gaps down to Melville and Feldbal. Nick Hall getting up there, and he's crossing the line in a solid 5th place there. Lopez just overhauling Angus Smith. Angus Smith battling on, trying to recover it, but Lopez is going to get back onto the tarmac and clear that 6th position as we see Smith coming through. Christophe Contant not far before Pedelag's team. Joris Sheppers just holding on there for 9th position with Roubaix in 10. And got Mike Lister now coming through in 11th. He's looking like he's going to hold on to this position with Wout Claes, Rowbottom behind him, and Dubray all unleashing everything they can on this last section of the Paterberg. So we've got the results just coming in there as Rowbottom comes through. Dubray just overtaking there, and we've got Wout Claes coming through. Gavache just making the turn there over McAlpine, and McAlpine stopped. Oh, this is a terrible place to have a technical. Commonplace under high strain to drop a chain on the Paterberg. I wonder if that's what's happened to McAlpine there. He's underway again, but he's going slowly as James Ogilvy comes past him to move up into 16th position. And there's another rider just coming through on McAlpine there. Vespa is just overtaking McAlpine there. McAlpine struggling to get back underway under these heavy conditions. He's at about 20% gradient there. Terribly unfortunate for him. Vespa comes through in 17th position. McAlpine's back underway though, as we've got Headnight Train coming up hard on him, but I think McAlpine's going to make it to the tarmac, and it's going to be over there. All sorts of issues can happen. Drop chains, you can have your Di2 batteries going flat. Headnight Train coming through. Beauregard coming up now with Lee Marshall not too far behind him.
Tough racing.
It sounded it, Mike. You enjoyed that then?
Well, I think I went a bit deep on that first lap. My time up the Oude Kwaremont the second time round was almost a minute slower, so I did some damage to myself, but I managed to get into a little group towards the end of that second lap and found a little bit of second wind up the Paterberg, which allowed me to salvage a little bit of a result, finishing in 11th place. But yeah, hard to misjudge it and go too hard on that first lap. You've got a 4.5 to 5 minute effort up the Kwaremont, and then it's about 60 to 90 seconds depending on how hard you're going up the Paterberg, and then you've got around about 7 minutes to recover before you hit the next climb. So it's a great interval session, some strong riding in there again, but I think a few of us will be looking forward to tomorrow's crit race at Tempelhof, where there's no metres of climbing.
Yeah. The only thing you've got to worry about at Tempelhof is accelerating out of every single corner, Mike. So, you know, sure it'll be relaxing.
Well, I'll be more technical. Like you say, you've got to watch those corners. It's going to be a big field, so you need to position yourself well. But back to tonight then, we've got our top 20 in, and there's 3 minutes between first and second, and I'm sure when we look at the series leaderboard shortly, there's going to be riders moving up and down quite a large number of places. We saw Nick Greenall down there in 44th place, bit of a surprise, whether he was a late join or had an issue. We'll catch up with him in the post-race chat over on Discord, and also on Facebook. But yeah, I think that was a great effort by James Melville, wasn't it? Just how he managed to close 200 metres in that final 400 metres was an impressive attempt. He just fell slightly short, but he put in a bag full of time, 20 seconds on Paterberg and the rest of the field there. So I'm sure he'll be moving up the rankings.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Caught me off guard, that little bit of acceleration by James Melville there to cover that gap. And he looked like he was going to overhaul Heiderdam for a moment, but then I think Heiderdam saw the danger and put a little bit more effort in. I also think that Melville had possibly just blown up slightly as he'd covered that distance. It was fantastic acceleration from him.
It certainly was, and I was just watching Nick Greenall there. It looked like he was going back round another lap, or maybe he was just rolling down this final little bit. There we go, look, Nick Greenall down in 42nd place, appears to be going round for another lap, so I'm not quite sure if what's happened there. Maybe he just went through the start line so fast, he's still rolling.
Have to review that later. Maybe he's been positioned wrongly there. Soderberg's going through there. We've got Equi coming up. 40.
I know our producer,
5th position.
Our producer Damon does like to throw in the replays, so the instant replay maybe they're just catching us off guard. And, yeah, I can see all these riders still coming through, not too far down. So we're currently 7 minutes after Heiderdam here. But yeah, like I say, it's a fairly short course, so those time gaps are a little bit smaller. When we're doing a 30 to 40 minute race, it means that GC really is going to jump around throughout the week. 3 more races to go, so it's really not going to be over until we reach the final stage at Dirty River. So once again, good numbers. Still got 70 riders, 80 riders in this race. There's a nice bit of post-race chat going on. That's one of the good things I like about RGT, is that the riders don't instantly get thrown back out of the course, so there's almost a cool-down period on the course just after the start line, and riders can message each other, congratulate each other, and just talk about the performance and the pain they've just been through.
Yeah, but there is something to be said about shared suffering, Mike. It does bring people together, and I think riding the Oude Kwaremont and the Paterberg are those sorts of paces. There's only one way of referring to it, and that is suffering. It's not enjoyable hitting those sort of gradients at that type of pace.
Well, it's shared suffering, but you don't have much opportunity to speak to each other when you're going up those gradients. So it's nice to have a little bit of post-race chat. It's good to see that we are all suffering, even those guys at the front. Everyone's on the limit. We'll see how well they recover. So we're just calculating the series leaderboard results. See how that's been shaken up. We'll bring that to you in a second.
Come through with Ryan Deadpool just crossing the line there.
Yeah, not to be confused with Ryan Miller. They're both called Ryan Miller, but Deadpool just puts his name on for a little bit of interest to make himself stand out. So that was the standing. There we go. There's the standings, just been updated. And Casper Heiderdam then, still our series leader, 50 seconds ahead of James Melville. Rasmus Faudbau dropping down into 3rd place, and Daniel Cadiz in 4th, and Nick Hall in 5th. So 2 minutes separating the top 5. Christophe Contant in 6th, Patrick Roubaud in 7th, Joris Shepard, another strong ride from him in 8th place, Angus Smith in 9th, and Walter Place in 10th. And myself there, I wasn't going to mention me, but I'm in 11th, only because I wanted to to mention Sam Kimber there in 12th place, doing very well. He's riding in the earlier slots, so he does lose a little bit of draft benefit. He's well in the mix there, just outside the top 10. So that's our overall top 20. All of the standings are available on the RGT DB website, rgtdb.com. Go check it out. That's where you can find all of the race results, information on the series leaderboards. We've got information on the prizes that we've got on offer. And we've also got Ridey's race recons. So tomorrow, Tempelhof Airport, we'll be bringing you that recon shortly. And then Pienza on Thursday, 30 Riva on Friday. So we'll give you the course fly through. Friday, I know you've been doing a bit of research on this course.
Yeah, so Tempelhof Airport, based in the grounds of the Tempelhof Airport, which was the world's biggest commercial airport and one of the 20 world's biggest buildings. But it's the outlying lands, the runways and aprons that we're interested in this instance. And what we have here is a 1 kilometre course, almost entirely flat, no elevation to be spoken of, split up with 8 corners. And somehow it all appears that the majority of these are hairpins. I don't know how they managed it, so we'll have lots of auto braking in this course. Riders will have to feather the power going into the corners to try and get their avatar to find that inside lane. And then on the way out of the corners, they'll be watching the power numbers, seeing when they turn from red to white, hitting the power coming out of those corners, trying to drop riders left, right and centre, and just pushing. So this is a race that's going to be not only for the power riders, but for those who are a little bit more skilled, a little bit more technical, and are able to control the power on the avatar a little better than some of the others. Yeah, just nice, flat, and we've got 25 laps of it. You're saying it's going to be an easier race than today, Mike. In many ways, I think it's going to be harder. You're going to have these short straights where people are going to be applying the power, trying to snap the elastic from riders behind them. And if anything, it's going to be just hit intervals time and time and time again. Every section between these corners, there's going to be people applying the power, trying to break away, and you're going to have to be watching it so carefully. Unlike today, where you just had the 2 hills where people were going to try and snap it on people, it's going to be every little small section. So, yeah, I think it's going to be worse for riders tomorrow than it was today, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think you're right. In some ways, it will be more challenging. Sorry, they cut back to the talking heads as I was just giving a little bit of post-race chat there, and caught me slightly off guard there. So cheers to our producer for that. But as I say, yeah, good to have the post-race chat. And apparently Nick Greenall decided he was going to do a 3rd lap, so I'm not sure why he felt the need to do that. 2 laps is definitely enough, and yeah, we'll be catching up with him later on to find out what was happening there. So yeah, I think tomorrow it's, like you say, interval session. It's going to be high wattage efforts, lots of them, but short and sharp. So if you can get in the front, that's going to be key. Get in the pen early. You've seen today, it's 5 riders across, so you're sort of 15 rows back. Quite challenging at the start to try and move forward. It's new. Physics are more realistic in that respect. You can't just ride through the back of people. So if you're out of position, it is hard to move forward. And at the start there, I was on the front row and I dropped back to that 40th place because I was a bit slow getting away on that sharp downhill gradient, and suddenly I was panicking trying to get back. So it was a harder start than I anticipated. But I'll get some recovery. I've got my my protein shake here. I've been having my Element Recharge electrolyte drink during the race, so hopefully that will give me some good recovery for tomorrow. And I'm going to wrap up there because I'm feeling a little bit out of breath still. And I will thanks to everyone for joining us. Thanks for your comments, thanks for watching, and I'm going to pass over to Riley for his final thoughts as always, and maybe just a little bit of insight into who he thought was his Riley's rider today. Thanks,
well,
everyone. See you soon.
Just going back to a quick point that you made there, Mike. Quite narrow roads today on the race. On the Tempelhof, they are wider roads, so being able to try and navigate your avatar to the inside lane will be making quite a bit of a difference to the speed of your race tomorrow. It is a little bit of a skill that some riders have managed to perfect, just a little bit of applying the power or slowing down slightly at the right point. You can cajole your rider into different areas of the track, and that will make a massive difference. Riley's rider, well, for me today it would have to have been James Melville. That last attack on the Paterberg, it just came out of nowhere. He saw that he had to drop Feldbail, he did that, and he so nearly overhauled Heaterdown. For a moment I was eating my words. I was saying Heaterdown's got this sewn up, and then Melville just woof, came from nowhere. So yeah, that'd have to be me for today. But there will be a poll on the RGT users group. Please head over there, give us your thoughts, give us your votes. This isn't just something that's about our choice, it's about the choice of the users, the people who are watching the race. So it's really important that you put in your input, and you have an effect on who's going to win these prizes. The prize for Riley's rider is the Element drink, the hydration salts. It's a pack of 30, it's quite an expensive hydration salt, of very high quality. The Element, we put the details of the manufacturer down on the Facebook group. Don't forget, there's also a mug that will be randomly drawn from all of the finishes on the day stage, the Giro d'Europa mug. As I say, it's a little bit of a memento, a piece of memorabilia. If you're racing the race and you want to pick one of these up for yourself, head over to vcyclingnews.co.uk. There's a shop on there with loads of little bits of things to help you remember events that you've been in. And don't forget as well, if you're on Facebook, follow the page. If you're on YouTube, if you could subscribe, hit the notification button, it really helps us out, keeps people viewing, and well, really a lot of this is about how many viewers we get, so we're really interested in people getting involved, watching the racing, and there's been some really great racing tonight. I think everybody would agree. So that's it for me. I think Mike's still tired, whacked, and we're going to head off. I'll get some coffee, lubricate my throat, and Mike's going to get into his recovery routine. But it's been great commentating on the race, and it's been great having you along for the ride.
Just one final point. I've got a little bit of breath left. Just to say, if you do want to win a prize and you want to be eligible, please go to rgtdb.com, go to the Giro d'Europa page, and there's a little form you've just got to fill out so that we've got your contact details so that we can contact you if you are a winner, and we can send you the prizes. We don't want you to miss out if you are a winner, so please do that, and we will be in touch if you are one of those lucky prize winners. So thanks a lot, everyone, and we will be back tomorrow at 10 to 7 for tomorrow's race, live coverage with myself, Mike Lister, and Riley Harvey.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.